She had come from the Philippines to work at an elderly care facility. She was told that she needed to pay back $12,000 in recruitment fees. She was basically trapped for 2 years. She was threatened with deportation if she tried to leave, and she was only rescued by the FBI because neighbors noticed that she was never not working. She never got a day off, and they reported it.
How do you really prevent trafficking before it starts?
California is known for its sanctuary state status, but migrant workers are still vulnerable to exploitation, labor violations, and human trafficking. California lawmakers and migrant advocates are working to pass a new bill to expand protections to one of the state's most vulnerable populations.
I'm Krista Bisnath, and I'm the advocacy manager at Freedom United. When it comes to modern slavery, migrants are 3 times as likely to be trafficked than local workers. What we need are better protections for migrants and migrant workers rather than just focusing on how do we keep our borders safe.
My name is Professor Stephanie Richard. I'm the director of the Sunita Jain Anti-Trafficking Institute at Loyola Law School. I used to oversee the largest legal services program in the country, exclusively serving human trafficking survivors. From our practical knowledge and on-the-ground experience, we understood that this was a particular vulnerability, not just for labor exploitation, but actually for labor trafficking.
My name is Ramsey Judah, and I am an immigration and civil rights attorney. And sometimes you're separating families. You're sending the husband and then to one place and the wife to another. They are human beings and they need to be treated as such and they need to be respected.
Assembly Bill 1362, also called the Human Trafficking Prevention and Protection Act for Temporary Immigrant Workers, was recently introduced by Democratic Assembly member Ashkal Ra of San Jose.
The bill essentially requires foreign labor recruiters to register with the state and ensures that they provide information to the workers about what their rights and responsibilities are. We want to hold accountable foreign labor contractors who oftentimes will take advantage of workers that they hire on to then deliver as workers to companies and what have you throughout California, whether it's in agriculture, construction, what have you.
What a lot of people don't know is that these middlemen, like a lot of middlemen are all over the world, take advantage of these situations. And so they will start, taking bits and pieces of payments that are given to these agricultural workers or to these tech sector workers in order to enrich themselves through different contracts that they usually make people sign in languages that they don't understand. So there's a lot of predatory employment that goes on.
This bill focuses very narrowly on increasing protections for temporary workers coming on legal visas to California. And one of the things that our data showed us, based on our population in Los Angeles, California, is that 2/3 of the individuals we are serving were coming on these temporary work visas. And then we also worked with a coalition who involved both national and international experts. And we talked about and all saw the same consistent patterns that fraudulent foreign labor recruiters promised workers false things about the temporary legal visas that to bring them to the United States. This is what we all saw, both here in the United States as well as across the board internationally, led to exploitation and labor trafficking of workers.
In 2014, California passed Senate Bill 477, which requires foreign labor recruiters to register with the state and abide by certain worker protections. But that has only protected a small number of migrant workers.
We understand that the current law in California only protects about 3% of all temporary migrant workers that come to work in California, which means that tens of thousands of workers, temporary migrant workers, are currently being set up for wage theft, debt bondage, and trafficking, while California looks the other way. The current law cannot protect against unfair and unscrupulous recruiters. So a lot of the forced labor is actually occurring at the point of recruitment, which might be somewhere like Mexico or the Philippines, where California has no jurisdiction or oversight of what these foreign labor recruiters are doing. That means that migrant workers arrive in California already trapped in cycles of coercion and debt. So this bill would close loopholes that allow traffickers to do this.
Around 350,000 migrant workers come to California employed through temporary work visa programs. H-2A visas are designed to help with agricultural labor shortages, while H-2B visas are for all other non-agricultural labor. Why is a bill like this so important in this moment in time?
It's absolutely important any time, but especially now when we know that the federal government is not only not going to protect immigrant communities, but the federal government is targeting immigrant communities, and especially undocumented workers. Those that come as foreign labor contract workers are technically documented because they're coming through a legal process. But at the end of the day, it really seems quite apparent that this administration is really targeting so many in our immigrant community, regardless of their status. And the more we see aggression from ICE and other federal agencies, the more it gives space for these foreign labor contractors to take advantage of workers, knowing that workers are going to be more fearful to step up and complain about working conditions or otherwise be able to raise their voice when it comes to wage theft or other extreme violations of workers' rights. And so we want to make sure that the workers are fully informed of what their rights are, feel empowered to exercise those rights, and that foreign labor contractors are not given the opportunity to take advantage of those workers.
Despite him being a Democratic governor, Gavin Newsom vetoed a nearly identical bill in 2022. The legislature can override a vetoed bill, but it takes 2/3 of a vote in both the Assembly and the Senate, something that hasn't happened in 46 years. And while he approved $50 million to protect immigrants from deportation back in February, those protections did not extend to labor exploitation or wage theft. How do you feel about this bill's success? And are you fearful at all that the same thing will potentially happen?
Yes, I mean, this bill's been tried a couple of times. I tried it once, it's been vetoed before. And I feel that this is not just a bill that speaks to our values, but it really is about protecting workers. And I think at the end of the day, you have to pick what side you're on. Are you on the side of Trump and MAGA and those that are going to come after, particularly our immigrant workers? Or are you on the side of protecting workers against unscrupulous contractors? I think the choice is quite clear, and I'm hopeful the governor will see it that way as well. Regardless, we're going to hold everyone to account, whether it's my fellow legislators that will have a vote on this bill, or the governor as to standing up for these workers. And I don't think anyone should shy away from whatever decision they make, whether it's a veto or a signing of the bill. We'll certainly celebrate the governor when we get this bill to him and he signs it.
This is good policy. It's been policy that advocates and ethical businesses have wanted to put in place for 20 years now. But there is a large lobby and business community who does benefit on the backs of exploited labor. And so we hope that this time around, the governor will hear our message that this is good policy for California that protects workers, that protects immigrants, that protects businesses, and that honestly, we won't get out lobbied by that business community that wants to continue exploiting workers to their own benefit. That is the message that we hope we're powerful enough for the governor to hear this time around.
The Western Growers Association, a business group that operates in California and many other states, is historically opposed to these kinds of bills. They argue that bills like this could slow down hiring and increase costs for agricultural businesses that rely on migrant labor. We reached out to the association, but they did not respond to a request for comment.
This is something that sometimes does take a few years to get through because industry lobbies very hard against it. But at the end of the day, let's look at what they're lobbying for when they lobby against this. They're lobbying for a lack of accountability, a lack of transparency, and they're lobbying for the ability to take advantage of workers. So if that's what someone is for, I think it's quite clear they're on the wrong side of morality and the wrong side of labor laws. And we need to make it very clear that we're not going to stop until they're held accountable. This bill hurts businesses and hurts farmers that intend on violating the law. So if you're not violating the law or don't intend on violating the law, this doesn't hurt you. In fact, this helps you if you work in good faith and protect your workers. And so it's good for good business. And if you plan on being a bad actor, yes, I would be worried about it because we are coming after those who do violate the law or don't have respect for workers.
With the opposition having such a strong presence and funding within our political environment, bills like these could continue to get shut down.
We need to treat people like human beings. Everybody deserves to be treated like